Welcome back to another episode of Buckle Up, an Ultrarunning Conversation. Mandy, sweet shades, girl.
Thanks. It's St. Patty's Day, so I'm just I'm
Uh,
just really feeling the green here. You look really green, Brian. Are you feeling
the
nauseous today?
shamrock lenses, if you're just listening, Mandy's got some shamrock lenses on. I got this old school Patagucci fleece green shirt that's probably too warm to wear, but it's the only green shirt I have. So we are the two most non-assuming Irish people, but we have green on today, so we're doing it.
Yeah, that's a good point. We don't look Irish, do we? My kids are part Irish. My husband is part
Mine
Irish.
are too. Mine are
Okay.
too.
See, so it all works. I should have sent you a Lucky Brew Race shirt that you could have worn today.
Should have. We could have worn the Lucky Brews, but
Run Severance.
oh, geez, is that hashtag?
Hashtag Run Severance. It's our
Yeah.
new expansion.
Is it really?
Yeah. So we're like Ren Windsor's expanded into other communities that we put races on. It just didn't feel good to go put on a race in Severance with a big arch that says Ren Windsor. We're like in Greeley, So
You're gonna just. I mean, you gotta like. When they. When they're. On. Well, you know this firsthand because on I-25, which runs the Front Range north to south from New Mexico to Wyoming and farther. But through Colorado, that's where I-25 runs, interstate, and they're expand the lanes, right? So you gotta like, but they never expanded enough, right? When they get done with it, they actually kind of come back and then put another lane on. So you should be ahead of this game in your process instead of being like run Windsor, run Severance. You should be like run Northern Colorado, like just like own it all.
I know that's a lot of DBAs. It's a lot of websites to buy. If anyone wants to set up a crowd fund or help me pay for 5 million websites. But yes, that's the whole point of Miles Beyond Running Company is that we're going miles beyond Run Windsor.
Miles beyond, there you go. Miles beyond Northern Colorado.
Yeah, just Miles Beyond Running Company because this podcast isn't just in Colorado and my mentoring isn't just in Colorado. And I don't know. Anyways, what are you up to today, Brian?
Oh man, it's St. Patrick's Day. I got a bunch of meetings. I'm gonna go run with the track kids. We got some work to do. We had our first track meet last weekend, and they did great. First one, shaking off the cobwebs, and newer athletes, a lot of freshmen, a lot of younger underclassmen. So first experience, they're all trying to PR, and I'm like, yo, we got a whole season here. Let's just get the race in and get the experience down. Let's figure out where we need some work. We're not really finishing fast right now. So yeah, well, we are finishing fast, is what I should say. These kids came around the corner with 150 to go. I told them all at 150 in the mile and the 2 mile to finish hard at 150. That's when you start to go and you try to pick that person off in front of you and get a couple extra points for our team. And
Right.
these kids were sprinting down as fast as the 100-meter kids. And so I was like, man, maybe we left a little too much on the table. So we got to work on pace.
Yeah, learn
So that's where
some
I'm at
basic
right now.
strategy.
Yeah.
Takes
Hey, I
time.
want to go back to your community though, and the whole Run Windsor Beyond Miles segue, and it's a great segue till today because there's one member of your community that's kind of challenging himself in raising money for a great cause.
Yeah, I met Aaron through a networking group that we're a part of. He is a lender by trade. That's what he does for work. And when I first met him, I think I just finished Leadville for either the first or second time. And I was telling the story. It was like a what everyone do this weekend kind of day. And I was like, well, I ran the Leadville 100. And half of them was like, you did what by yourself? And how many hours? That
I went garage sailing. What did you do? And then they're like, oh, I ran the Leadville 100.
like that's why I'm walking a little funny today. Yeah, those conversations I love. They're the best. When people are like, you did what? Like in a relay team over the period of a month? And you're like, no, just point to point. So anyways, I shared that with Aaron and his jaw was like dropped and he was like, wait, what? And then later he told me like, don't take this the wrong way, but I really feel like if you could do that, I could do that. That sounds awesome. So we've been talking about him getting more into running over the years, and he's run some of our races and towed the line for World Junior Medal last year with the goal of running 100 miles. And he fell short. I think last year he finished around 75 miles maybe. And he admits that he let his mind get the best of him. He feels like he didn't leave it all out there. He could have kept going, but when the going got tough, he, like a lot of us have, kind of gave into that pain and was like, F it, I'm out. But now he's got some redemption and he's coming back for more.
That's right. This week's guest is Aaron Nelson from Northern Colorado. And he's raising funds for Laura Bunch. Laura Bunch and the family are struggling. She's got some cancer diagnosis. She needs more treatments. She's in the thick of it, right? She's in the weeds. and she needs some help. And her buddy Aaron is trying to help them out with raising funds. And so he's got the hashtags going on, bunch of miles, hashtag bunch of miles, on a play on Laura's last name, to help support Laura in her efforts to beat this thing.
Yeah, he fundraised for her last year, and I think a lot of what she's going through is requiring treatment outside of what they're able to access through insurance. So these funds really are going to a treatment that sounds like maybe just isn't accessible from current insurance, which I think is something that a lot of people in our country are facing right now. So if you have the time, talent, or effort, as Erin says, to hop in and help with this or funds, also if you want to come out to Welder Metal, we in this episode talk about that event and invite you out to come and support him or all the athletes, or come run, hang out with us for the weekend.
Yeah, that's right. Welder Metal, we talk about it in the episode, but another great event that you guys put on. Looking forward to seeing if I can make it out this year or not. But yeah, if you're listening, we appreciate you stopping in and hanging out with us for a little bit while we talk to Arian. We'd love for you to like, share, and comment, and subscribe in all those places. And we have lots of episodes in the queue. Actually, I think Mandy and I will be busy this week. So thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll check you soon.
Happy St. Patty's.
Hey, good morning, Aaron. Thanks for coming on the show this morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks for having me.
Where are you calling in from this morning? Where you're located at?
Yeah, not too far from Mandy. I'm here in my office in Loveland, Colorado, and I live in Greeley.
Awesome. So that's like maybe an hour north of Denver, right? For those tuning in that aren't familiar with where that is in the world. Northern Colorado, we kind of call that right here, right?
That's right. That's right. Running capital of the world.
Mandy's sure trying to make it that, right?
Yes, that's the story.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm super stoked to be here. Thanks for having me. Mandy's been a big running partner of mine. Not too much lately though. We haven't gotten a ton of miles in, I feel like, in the last year, but yeah, we used to run a ton and in some networking groups. So good people. Appreciate y'all having me on.
Yeah, Aaron he's run Welder Metal. He's run many of my races. We've done some training miles together. We're at a CrossFit gym together, but I would say mostly Aaron and I spend a lot of time together in networking circles. So Aaron does a lot of work in Windsor, as obviously I do. So it's been fun to watch Aaron transform, like for our relationship to transform from just networking to the running side of things, and him take on Ultra and his big upcoming endeavor, which is kind of, I think, what we're talking about today.
Yeah, let's get there. But I do have a question. Did you run Welder Metal last year in the rain, Aaron?
I did. That was
a
challenge.
Too. We must have passed each other, I don't know, 38 times or so, probably, in different directions, apparently, because I don't believe we ever spoke, or I don't recall ever having a conversation with you.
Yeah.
I was trying to put my head down and suffer in the rain.
My gosh, yeah, there was not a lot of smiles on that day. What'd you do
this year? I promise.
What distance did you do?
I did the 52 miler.
Nice.
I did 24 hours, but I ran 52 miles. I don't know, sometime in the middle of the night, maybe early evening. I walked off and went to sleep. I had a big weekend ahead too. I went to the Yankee game the next day, and then on Monday I ran the Boulder 10K. So I was just kind of visiting. I live on the western side of the state. I don't know if Aaron, you know that, but I live towards Grand Junction in Glenwood Springs.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I made a big weekend of coming over. But yeah, I had a great time. I think I went to bed around 1 or 2 a.m. after some coffee in the aid station tent with Mandy, and called it a day.
Yeah, that was smart. Yeah, well, now I feel bad, man. We had to pass each other a bunch of times, but that's cool. It was a fun race, man. I mean, that was my first adventure into 100, into anything like that, and really, truly suffering. And, you know, if I'm being honest with myself, I feel like I let the conditions win. You know, it was tough and rain and all that stuff, and I just felt like I just allowed myself to not push as hard as I truly probably could have.
We talked about it before on the show, this kind of format, but have you ran other hundreds or other distances that aren't this looped course? Because I also feel like I jumped in my truck at 52 miles with probably 5 or 6 hours left of the 24 hours that I signed up for. Only because, yeah, the conditions kind of sucked. And I mean, every 2 miles I had an out, essentially, right? I was able to jump in my truck and take a nap or go to sleep or just get out of the
Mhm.
weather. And way easier than other courses where, all right, it's 20 miles to the next aid station. I got to commit because there's no getting out of it, right? There's just a trail and you got to make it there. So have you done other distances that aren't in this format?
No, the longest race I ever did before that was welter metal again. And that was actually we called it a heavy. I think that was 27 or 28 miles. And that was an out and back. So yeah, I think that one was a little bit. I think that what to your point, it's really hard to know like, okay, well, all I got to do is really make it 2 miles, and I can sit down and have a PBJ and a cup of coffee, and then I set up my little area directly behind that turnaround point too. So I
Mm,
really had an out every 2 hours, and that definitely hurt for sure.
mm,
Yeah, a lot of lessons get learned in that though. I mean, to your point, now you know, like, did I leave some of that out on the table? It's also kind of a nice format for we talk about a lot, like for an introductory to ultra,
mm.
because if you're new to this and you're needing to figure out hydration, fueling, gear, it is a nice place to be able to like replenish that stuff in as long as you have that awareness of while you're able to access all of that, you're also able to access the out. So probably something more we need to talk about is like race directors and coaches in the sport. Like, yeah, use it to learn how much to keep track of how much hydration you actually use, how much fuel, what went down well, what didn't. So that when you are out in the middle of a point to point ultra, you know what you're gonna need at crew stops or in your pack to carry with you. But you did a great job, Erin. I mean, I was there with you, equally miserable, probably not like as miserable, but like we were all, let's just face it, we were all miserable, we were all cold. Like I was kind of jealous you got to move your body more and kind of stay a little bit warm, but like that mud took its toll. And yeah, so I think you got to give yourself a little bit of credit. Like I watched a lot of those laps you came in not looking like you wanted to go back out, and you put on your rain jacket and your, you know, gorilla looking shoes that were just like caked and covered in mud and kept going.
Yeah, there was that one little stretch like right after the finish line, like after the structure they have out there, that little outbuilding where it was a drop off on either side, and it was literally ice skating through the mud. And
Mm.
I had never experienced that, and it's just you didn't want to go through that part of it. And then you got an inch of mud on your shoes, and you just eventually knock it off on the 2 miles, and you come back knowing that you have to go through that again. It was yeah. Yeah. But no, I
Yeah.
appreciate it. I appreciate it. I was just trying to just continue to move, just one foot in front of another, you know, not much else we can do. There's a lot of people walking, so I think I kind of just got to join those. It was the 2x2 by 48, 2x2 by 24, something like that. That
Yep.
group. I was like, all right, at least I'm just gonna go in and just kind of hang out with those guys for a little bit.
Yeah. At least just
So
move. And sometimes that's what it's all about in ultra is just it's just moving with the condition, being in the moment with how you feel and like trying not to take it too seriously, just knowing it's all pretty temporary. If you're having a good lap, that's cool, but don't hang out there because it might change and then you got a bad lap and you know, same thing. So it's one foot in front of the other.
yeah, well, I'm gonna look back on that. I think, and it's funny because I did a 20 miler on Saturday where I used my house as the crew or whatever, just ran 4 or 5 miles, came back, rehydrated, went back out again, and I was really trying to just run in, slam whatever I was gonna drink, and then went right back out because the time at the aid station was a time that I was just able to be a little bit of a punk, if I'm being honest, like taking 20 minutes to change clothes, well, when you're by yourself and it was pouring rain, I think I, again, give myself a little grace because that sucked. Um, but I think one of the biggest things though is I lost the fun. It was not a lot of fun with the weather. And I think if we're able to just push ourselves and just have fun and do something silly or and on something around that, that's going to be cool. And also, I have a crew that's going to be there overnight with me because when Lene and Connor left and I had nobody, I just deflated.
Yeah.
It's just I'm just going to walk. This sucks.
I
So
will I will say that the format, although challenging, like and easy to walk off the course every 2 miles, also lends itself to like being crewless and all those things, right? You don't have people out on the course driving around at all hours of the night trying to bring you a rain jacket in the middle of the woods, down some deserted road, that's not even on the GPX file, so it lends its hands to that, as well as easy convenience for the single person, for myself to show up and go run 55 miles, 52 miles, whatever it was. It's self-supported essentially with just the aid stations and my own truck, no crew, no family, no nothing. Aaron, I do want to back up though, and let's talk about like your history with sport and how you got into it and how you found yourself at Welger Medal last May.
Yeah. So I did sports all growing up, wrestling and football. Never really did any sort of biking or cycling, running, anything like that. Like I remember high school, my pops got some bikes as he was trying to lose a bunch of weight, which he did. He became a completely different person. It was really awesome to see. Lost a ton of weight, but I just did not like mountain biking. And I grew up in the mountains around like Frisco, Silverthorne, Keystone. My pops was a captain of the fire department in Keystone, so we had access to everything. But really, all we wanted to do was snowboard, getting outside. I did enjoy, the runs and stuff with wrestling because I felt like that was one thing that I could always smoke the rest of the team on, or lead them and pace it, if you will. Yeah, I just did when I got sober 10 years ago, got back into exercising, and just went to Planet Fitness and jumped on elliptical and basically ate salmon to lose all the booze weight. And I actually ran the Devil's Backbone, which is just a little bit of incline, about a 6 mile loop, 6 to 8 miles. I did that on Saturdays, but never really like knew about ultras or knew about any of that. I just did something to lose weight. And then fast forward about 2.5 years ago, I got invited to this networking thing. Didn't know what it was. And in comes Mandy, all 5 foot nothing of you, or what, 5'2", 5'3", and
5'2".
5'2". Yes, Anyway,
Five
I'm
foot
sitting there as
something.
like a naive, like I just got done with my CrossFit workout. I'm feeling good, and then in comes Mandy. She's right after Leadville, and told the story, and I'm like, oh my god, if this little girl can do this, I think this is something I can do. Quickly realizing how naive and stupid that of a thought that was. But it was actually really cool between her and Sean and Conrad and all the people that I got introduced to into this whole running world. It was awesome. I just wanted to do a marathon, and so I signed up. The timing was great. Did the Turkey Trot 5K, then Santa Catch 10K, and just worked my way up to a half, and then did the Welger Medal, 27, 28 miler. Somehow ended up winning that, and that was cool. I think that even though there wasn't a lot of people there, whatever, I finished it, and I did my marathon in under 4 hours, which was great for me. The total time was a little bit over 4 hours, but just to come in first overall and did a little burpee thing to bring awareness to the veterans group that I work for. That was kind of the ultimate thing there too, was to bring awareness towards Stillwater, and that was actually pretty cool because we actually got some really good stuff out of that on Stillwater Ranch side. And then thought I was going to be done after that, and then I got the itch, and then my friend Laura, she's going through it right now with some breast cancer, and she's been battling for, this is actually her second round. And I mean, if you add it all together, this is 6 years of battling this breast cancer stuff. And so I wanted to run last year's Welter Medal for her. So I was getting pledges of $1 for every mile I run, up to $100 to help her and Kenny with the medical bills. Kenny's a fellow loan officer here at Fairway. He's like my big brother. And so just trying to help them out. And I thought I was done. Honestly, when I finished up, my dad, he fell in the mud that morning trying to help me. We were just trying to just throw all of our crap in the car. I just threw it in the garage and went to bed. And I'm like, I think I'm out. Like, that was just too much for me. And then the next day we had a foreign exchange student with us from Spain, and he was there. He was Mateo. He was really cool. We were sitting there eating breakfast, and he's like, are you going to do it next year? And, this is less than probably about 24 hours from finishing. I look at Naya, and she just goes off, well, next year we're going to get a camper, and then this and this and this and this and all these things that we're going to do better. And I was like, yeah, that's right. That's my wife. Let's go. Let's run it back. And so, I want to complete this because it's kind of just been a thing in my mind because, yeah, the conditions or whatever, I get it. But if I'm really being honest with myself, I did, not to be redundant, but there's some that I need. There's some unfinished business, if you will. And then again, raising money for Laura again. So I'm calling the whole training hashtag bunch of miles 2026 on Instagram and trying to make it a thing and get some people around it to help Laura and Kenny. So yeah, that's the story from then till now.
I love that. I think my favorite part is it's that like I think I love what inspired you. Like I think it's that if someone else can do it, I can do it. And so I love that about this. That's why I love having this podcast. And if the more we can share that with other people, like whether it's a stereotypical, hey, if that 5'2", 100-pound girl can do it, I can do it too. But it's also like the humbleness that comes with it, because as you pointed to, Erin, it's so much more than the physical aspects of any of this. It is so mental. And so we can prepare our bodies all the time, but if we're not committed to that goal or experienced in what it's going to take to get there, the wheels can fall off the bus pretty fast. So I'm proud of you for not giving up, because this sport is not a show up once and done thing. I don't know, Brian, you have way more experience in it with coaching athletes, but I can't imagine how people show up for their first one and have an absolutely miserable time. That's probably more the norm than showing up, be like, that was easy, signing up for a 200 next, like that's just not, I don't think how it goes. And I don't think that's how it's meant to be. It's a full body emotional mindset experience that takes time and it takes repeat. And then even when you do figure it out, it's probably going to fall apart again.
Yeah, I love that. Because even after the first couple runs that we did together, I'm like, okay, you underestimated this big. And I'm glad that I, had that moment of like, okay, if it was just physical, this would be so much easier. Like, it's really not that hard to run a 10, 12-minute pace. I mean, everybody's version of is hard. I didn't necessarily mean it that way. But if it was just running an easy couple miles, the physical side is again, the easy part. Then things go wrong, and then your foot hurts, and then this, and then that, and this, and that. It's brutal.
We talked offline, Erin, that we have quite a few things in common. And one of them is sobriety. And you're 11 days more sober than I am, which is a drop in the bucket when we both celebrate 10 years in this coming December. I think yours was December 5th, mine's December 16th, our sobriety dates. And so that was just kind of a weird fluke. But where I'm going with this is that I feel like it's like an ultra is like we say we live a life in an ultra. And I feel like it's also like similar to the sobriety journey. I really thought when I got sober, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to get sober in 1 year. I'll just fix it all. I'll just be a normal dude after a year. Right. And I just really thought that was the way it was going to be. Of course, I did a lot of years of abusing myself. And why did I think now hindsight being like, how did I think 1 year was going to fix everything? Right. And so it doesn't work that way. And now I realize that, obviously. But I think ultras kind of go that way too. Like, oh, I'm just going to run this one race. It's going to be super simple. And then all of a sudden you learn something in it. And you're like, oh, man, I could probably go back for redemption. I could go back and clean up some of these mistakes I made. I could learn from all these experiences and grow as an athlete, similar to sobriety, right?
Yeah, the parallels are pretty spot on, man. You get out of it, you're great, and you're running a 6.5 minute pace, and then all of a sudden it's like, hang on, we gotta work on a couple things here. But yeah, it's really cool. I was just sitting here thinking, when we do that, man, we should get together and run, a 10 miles for 10 years or something. We're not that far away. That would be something pretty cool that we should do. When is Santa Catch?
Yeah, Brian, December 12th this year. I like this.
I mean,
that's between the dates.
Kind of right in the middle.
Yeah.
We could talk to the race director about getting some discount race entries.
Gosh, yeah, I don't know. Who that even? I'd probably email him, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that might be hard to figure it out.
Rough, but maybe we should consider it.
But yeah, it's, you kind of learn some things along the way, and you learn a lot about yourself and how others around you are, and what to do and what to adjust, and just keep cruising. But it is constant work. It does get easy. I don't know how it is for you now. Like, there's no struggles. I don't wake up, if a loan falls through, or I'm really, really tired. I don't ever justify a beer or anything like that, but there's still some stuff we always have to go on. And I think that's what I love about it too, is you can't just numb it with alcohol or anything. You kind of have to feel everything. I guess same in an ultra, same at mile 70, right? I mean, yeah, you got to just push through it and just keep going there, because there's no turning back. There's no giving up, because the alternative is, my alternative is family's gone and job is gone, and probably end up in jail or dead or something. So,
for sure. Totally. Yeah. Totally relatable. You got your coworker, their family's going through a tough time. It's a worthy cause. And I've ran for similar causes in the past, and it actually makes me do more work because I'm running for somebody else, right? Because if I'm just running for myself, I could quit on myself a little bit easier than I would quit on somebody else's program, somebody else's cause, and what I'm trying to bring awareness to. So do you kind of feel that same sentiment about that?
Without a doubt. That's kind of the thing that's been itching me too. Is I know that everybody that donated last year did it because we love Laura and did it because the right thing. But on the back of my mind, I was like, well, they already pledged $100. The majority of the donations we got were ahead of time, and I like I didn't hold up my end of the deal. And I know that's harsh, and I've given myself grace over the years. I get it, but it's just that also helps because I can't quit the race because I'm pretty sure Laura would just love to just wake up and just quit cancer one day, and that's just simply not the scenario. So that's what helps get me up every day and run for her. And yeah, hopefully she can raise enough funds and we can do some of this alternative treatments. I don't know how everybody feels about the medical industry, but basically, if you don't play by their rules, insurance doesn't cover it, and they'd rather treat it and make money off of it than actually cure the thing. And so that's what their next step is because the traditional stuff hasn't worked. It's starting to spread. So now more than ever, they're needing the additional funds so they can go and actually take care of this thing. But yeah, thank you for bringing it up. It's a good deal.
I'll plug it right now just because we're in the middle of the conversation about it. It's a GoFundMe page. Support Laura's cancer treatment. We're 35% there of the funds that you're looking to raise. And you can use all the help you can get. I'll put the link in the show notes. So if you're listening, go ahead and scroll down to the show notes, click that button, help Aaron and Laura and then the family out if you can. Whatever you can donate, I'm sure would be much appreciated and go a long way to getting them towards the goal.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And, in this world, we can donate three things: our time, our talent, and our treasure. If you don't have the treasure, the time of just, if you wouldn't mind, I'm not plugging my social media, but Team Nelson Loans on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I am sharing all of that. So if you wouldn't mind, just, like, comment, and share those posts because that really gets the message out to, whomever. And then, time on this one, or I guess talent, if you want to come run some miles with me, that would be awesome. Help get some training in. And then if you can donate monetarily, even if it's a couple bucks, everything goes a long way. So that GoFundMe was started a while ago with Laura's friends, and I just kind of piggybacked on it and just, well, here's where you can donate. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll plug for our listeners too. This event, you guys were both there last year, but I'm always welcoming pacers to come and just help out, volunteers to come and help out. Aaron's one of, we all run for reasons. This is a pretty big event that you're doing, Aaron, a big fundraiser, a really big mission outside of like some of our like internal reasons why. But I think it's just that reminder that there's always a way to show up in this community and just be present at a race and just see like who's struggling, who needs some help, who could use some words of encouragement, who's in the mud without their crew and family. And maybe need some help changing their socks and shoes. So yeah, we welcome everyone to come out to Weldra Metal, cheer Aaron on. It's the last week in May. May 30th is when it starts. Friday, I'm looking at my calendar because that's how that goes. But
how about a 10,000 foot view of Weldra Metal?
So it is all the distances under the sun. So Weldra Metal Ultra is an ultra race that happens on private property in Eaton, Colorado, northeast of Denver. It's groomed farmland with incredible views of Long's Peak. So relatively flat, but those hills, there's some, little baby gains, those tiny little hills that sneak up on you after you've done 50 miles. But it's a horseshoe kind of format, essentially, to where the aid station and the big party is like at the center of the event, and you run out, turn around on the other side of, the aid station headquarters, turn around and go back. So essentially each lap is 4 miles, but you have access to your crew, your glamping tent, your own camper, food, aid station, cold plunge sauna, everything we have at every 2 miles. So to Aaron's point, it's great for beginners, and it will test your mental mettle to keep going with the cushiness of what we've got going on. So, yeah, our distances are 7K all the way up to 100-mile. So there's like 50K in there, 50 mile, 100K, 100 mile, and then a 36-hour race for those that are just wanting to have 36 hours to do whatever distance they want. So similar, Brian, to what we've done like across the years, it welcomes all abilities to get out and walk, but it's huge. We've got access to this farmland. It's beautiful. So bring your camper, bring your tent. We have glamping tents and yurts on site. And of course, like sauna, cold plunge, and a lot of food. Yeah, you guys remember all the food we had last year? That'll be coming back. Ellie's going to work on that next week. Free booking.
I ate a lot of pasta.
All the food.
I remember I did not want to eat anything, and you were like, take home bananas. Like the last thing I wanted was a banana for whatever reason. You're like, take all these home, and I'm like, just give me my buckle. I want to get out of here. I don't want anything.
Yeah,
but this year,
Texas Roadhouse, Luna's Tacos, a gourmet chef cooking like breakfast every morning and pasta dinners. So we like to feed people at Miles Beyond Running Company.
It was legit. It was a fun atmosphere, and that's what really kept me going. Just the positivity during the day. It's just a fun event. It's almost like you got to hurry up and get back so you can see the fun for a minute and then get back out there. So you put on a good race.
Thank you.
I put in a request last year for like a tarp over the whole course so I didn't get wet. Did that happen for this year's race?
Yeah, I'm sure that's totally happening. Actually, right now we're installing like drains under the course.
Even better.
And
Genius.
Yeah, and then a tarp in case it does, so it just kind of drains through.
Yep. Yeah, well, the owner of the property.
We moved the date. We moved the date this year, so I'm hoping that gets us out of like that rainy season. But who knows? Apparently, we don't have weather.
It's not
here.
Memorial Day weekend?
No, it's the weekend after Memorial Day.
Okay.
So normally we hold this race on Memorial Day weekend. So Aaron, you mentioned earlier, it was a pretty small field that first year you did it. Memorial Day weekend's tough with graduations and travel and Boulder. Moving it to the first week, end of May, first weekend of June to hopefully get
1 week later than
1 week later.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really excited to get some redemption. My Misogi is to get it done in 20 hours. Another plug for what Mandy's done for us all up here. It's awesome.
Thanks, Aaron. Yeah, it's been fun. I mean, I think blending, we talk about this a lot, but blending like the professional entrepreneur life with endurance, there's so much overlap. And so what Aaron's talking about, if you haven't heard of it, Misogi is picking that one big thing that you do for the year. And it doesn't have to be physical, but probably most people listening to this podcast are going to resonate with that. But it's that non-negotiable one big thing for the year. And so for some people, it might be hit a certain revenue amount in your business. Others, it might be actually take your family on a vacation for a week and don't open your computer. For some of us, it's run 100-mile race. And so the thought is when you put that on your calendar, the rest of your world can move on and shift. But like that is the non-negotiable. Like everything you do in your daily actions lead to that day, that goal. And that's kind of where you have to do that constant gut check of priorities and what's it going to take to really get that one thing done. And then along the way, there's like once a month you pick one big thing that, again, it's on the calendar, it doesn't change. And there's a whole mindset to it, but that's what Aaron's talking about.
That's great. I love it. That's awesome. Aaron, I want to dive a little bit into maybe your training structure and what you've changed from what you've previously done to come back successful this year in your training strategy. Anything changed, or you just try to change the mindset? Where are you at with that?
Yeah, so that's a good question. It is pretty unstructured. I don't have a coach or a really true plan. What I am doing is just trying to sandwich my days with some runs. And it's really, I'm in this kind of a conundrum right now because I love my morning routine of either CrossFit or Olympic lifting. It's just fun. I love the daily competing. It does kind of help with VO2 max. I mean, it's sprinting for 15 to 20 minutes, however long the watt is. And then I also have something coming up that I'm doing. A good friend of Welger Metal. I don't know if you remember Matt Scoletti from last year, the MC. I'm going out with him.
He's a previous guest. I can't remember what episode he was on, but he's a previous guest as well.
Oh, Scoletti's awesome. He was on our podcast too. That guy's, just a ball of energy. And it got me to go do his 6 Manitou inclines in 36 hours coming up. And so I got some things going on, and I don't really know how to balance out the training. Obviously, Welger Metal, that's the number one goal. And this is the month prior. So I think it'll be kind of nice to get another experience into the overnights of pushing through that, because that was the other part of it too. I was like, oh my God, I'm tired. It's like walking and wanting to sleep and kind of zombie walking and managing that. So I think as far as the training goes, I'm managing pain at the moment, and I'm relying on ChatGPT. I know that's not necessarily helpful, but I've got this like pain in my third metatarsal, right where my left foot, right where the phalanges are at. And it's from last year too. I didn't manage the pain at all. It was like, oh, my foot goes numb after 4 or 5 miles, and just ran through it. Just did 20, 30-mile runs and just pushed through it. And I think this is going to be a thing that I'm going to have for life. So now I'm taking a step back and like, okay, I still have a little bit of time, and really diving into fixing it, like looking into like a metatarsal pad. I switched shoes. I used to run in, like I've been bouncing back and forth between Hoka's and Brooks and all the ones with the squishy stuff. As I'm learning, especially with the lifting, and not to poo poo on any brand or whatever, but I think the bigger the pads, the more detrimental it is for your body's anatomy. And so I found ultra shoes, and they're the wider toe box, so your feet can actually like be feet. You know, if you look at a baby when they're born, their toes are spread out like our fingers are. And so I've basically been running kind of pronated and then like running off of my pinkies and ring toes. And so trying to adjust that and actually spread my toes when I run, that's the biggest thing that I'm working on now. And as I'm focusing on this and really making it a priority, has really, really helped. So not just being the dumb gorilla that just, it's just pain, it's fine. And there is some of that we have to get over, but not trying to just be a little bit more intentional and smart with this before I really pack on the miles. But I do have a question on that. I don't know if you guys want to respond to that part of it, but I do have a question for you in regards to some of the stuff that I'm doing. So I don't know if it's free
Yeah,
advice or if you're going to give me free
let's go.
advice.
Let's go for it. Yeah, fire away.
So I have. It's funny where I live at. I have this 4 mile loop that's right around my house, and there's a park that simulates that little climb over the irrigation ditch really well.
Uh-huh.
And I do it at the end of the run, but time, life, family, I really only have a couple hours here and there. So if I'm stacking 2 4 mile runs in a day along with my CrossFit as basically a stock day and do longer runs, 10 to 20 miles on the weekend, do you feel like that's sufficient, or should I try to do something different? I don't really have a lot of it during the week. And obviously I can't just wait till the weekends to go pound out 20 on pavement, but it's sometimes what it ends up being. You know, my thought process behind all of that is I want a 4 mile run to feel like a walk around the park. Like that is just absolutely nothing. Is that the wrong mentality moving forward, breaking it into 4 mile segments for this race specifically?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think I coach full time. I coach athletes full time in all different disciplines, and I see firsthand how little time we have for the things we want to do, and we have to put a lot of energy into the things we need to do. Unfortunately, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
that's our limiting factor usually, right? It's all the noise and all the other stuff that gets in the way of our running and our training. Of course, at least the three of us aren't professional athletes. We're not making any money doing this. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be enjoyable. And once we make it not fun, then that's when we lose the interest in it and it becomes a chore, right? So yeah, so I think you run when you can. You try to get in as many miles during the week as you can, even if it's not 4 miles. It's still great. I don't think 4 miles has to be your benchmark by any means. If you can get in 3 that day and just run an out and back of a mile and a half just to get something in, I think that'd be an alternative as well. I don't think we need to get fixed on the 4 mile segment by any means. Those are just my initial thoughts. Mandy, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, Aaron, I know how busy you are. You and I run in a lot of the same circles, and I think you see how I do it. Like, you just have to get creative and you have to be a little bit flexible. And I think the intention has to be there. For me, what works is getting it on my calendar and okay if a little bit gets squeezed out here or there, right? Like, it's on my calendar to run for an hour, but if I'm meeting around late for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, that doesn't mean that run is scrapped. That means like we're improvising and we're doing what we can. That's just kind of the way that it goes. I think always being prepared for little runs. Like, I always have running gear in my car. So maybe it is a mile and a half, 2 miles in the morning, and then in between meetings or pickup or sports or whatever else you have going on, like getting back out there for another 30 minutes. I think it's just that, for me, it's that time on feet, and it's more like putting it into your daily life, like just weaving it in whenever you can if you don't have those set 1 to 2 hours every single day. And that seems to work for me, because then you don't have the mental load of, oh my gosh, it's been 3 days since I've run. So like to Brian's point, it doesn't have to be 4 miles. So much of this is that mental and that mind-body connection of I'm a runner because I run every day. It doesn't mean it has to be 5-8 miles every day, but it's just that repetitiveness of a little bit, showing up to the gym 10 minutes early, like run 10 minutes as your warm up before your CrossFit.
Yeah, I've pivoted on that, doing a fun little 100 miles before my 100 miler. So I started it way back when. So after every single WOD, I don't do anything. I just run straight up to either the treadmill, or they have like one of those like self-propelling treadmill things, which is way more difficult than an actual treadmill, or I'll just go outside and do a quick 1 mile loop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I
The
don't
other
know.
thing, Aaron, I think is, I say this to a lot of endurance athletes that I coach that are going for that 100-mile distance. Most of the events are 24 hours or greater in duration. You're looking for 20 this time, so roughly in the same ballpark. But where I'm going with it is that there's no bad time to train. So yeah, so maybe it is 10 o'clock at night once the family and the kids are all to bed, and maybe it is just that 3 miles and maybe not that 4 mile dedicated loop. So an 11 o'clock 3 mile 5K out and back safely, in the neighborhood, not trying to get lost in the trails or anything crazy, can also benefit your training, right? It's just additional time on feet, and it simulates ultra really well. You've worked all day, you've done the evening hours with the family and the shuffling of kids and the wife and the dishes and the dinner and how things are going to do
Hmm.
homework. I mean, all the things life is throwing at us right now in March of 26. And then everyone goes to bed and winds down. And now you got to put a couple miles in. We talked to another guy who's going to run the perimeter of America, and he runs his remaining 4 miles of the day. He's running like 17, 18 miles a day. Totally different story. But he's doing the extra mileage in 11 o'clock at night. He's getting that 3, 4, 5 miles in at 11 o'clock at night when everything winds down in the house, and he's got that moment. And there's some clarity to it. I really enjoyed that time myself when I was full boat training for ultra myself.
Nice. Well, that's helpful. Is there a certain mileage a week goal? I mean, I've heard you never want to exceed whatever race you're doing in a week. So not try to exceed 100 miles in a week. But is that just more of a ramping up, like a couple weeks ahead of time? That's when I hit my 100, or I don't know. I'm just curious because I've have zero planning, never even thought about it. I'm just like, I'm just gonna go run, and then I'm gonna go do the 100 miler and see what happens.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what ChatGPT thinks of this question, but I'll answer it myself first. I'd say wherever you're at now, just kind of know that number. It could be 30. I don't know what you're doing, and there's not a need for an answer. But if you're at 35 miles a week, if you're at 50 miles a week, there's some general structure for training could consist of like adding 5 to 10% per week. So you're not stacking a ton of, you're not going from 35 to 70 directly. You're going 35 to 38 and a half, 39 to 43. I'm doing quick math. I'm trying to add 10% each week. And then you
Sure.
do 3 weeks on, and then you're going to take a deload week and kind of bring the body back. So all that adaptation that you've created in those 3 weeks on will apply, and you'll see some growth and muscle growth, just like lifting, similar in style. That we need to see those gains, right? We need to see those gains in lifting. So we want to see those gains in our endurance fitness. So we're going to take a deload week, which just has a little bit less volume, probably back down to the 35 miles if that's your base, right? And then the following week, you're going to come back at maybe what was the previous 3 week block. I come back at week 2, which was 38 miles or 39 miles or whatever I said. I come back at 39 and I start increasing 5% up, 39 to 42, 43 to 47. And then I do a deload week and come back to 35, but then start at the middle of that second block, right? And keep laddering up. So
Mhm.
you're doing 3 steps forward, 1 step back, essentially. If you're thinking of a ladder, you're going 3 steps up, 1 rung back, 3 ladder rungs up. And
Yeah.
so you're increasing it, but you're doing it in a smart, consistent, long haul trajectory type of plan, as opposed to like, oh, I need to run 100 miles. And I don't think you need to run 100 miles in a week. There are athletes that can do that. There are athletes that can handle it. We all know Andrew Glaze that can run 100 miles a week for, I don't know, some astronomical amount of time, 3-4 years, over and over and over. But I don't think there's a need for that. I surely, personally, have never ran 100 miles in a week. I think the nearest I've ever came was 80, and that was back in my heyday. But I'm not in my heyday anymore. So, yeah, that's my thought of it. Mandy, anything extra?
Yeah, the only thing I would add, Aaron, I think just knowing you in your life is the consistency part. I know that that's where it plays really well for me and like matching it to the stressors you have going on in your life. But I think it's that slow build up, because the second we overload, it's injury. But it's
Yeah.
also like that consistency piece, right? So a little bit every day or every other day versus 4 days off and then try to go nail out 20 miles. But there's also some give and take to that. Like crazy week last week, and we had the smoke and the wind, and it's like when all the puzzle pieces fall apart, but like making sure you're still doing other things to mimic that endurance piece. So if it's getting on, for me last week, it was like getting in a spin class twice, in a healthy environment versus killing my lungs in our terrible wildfire smoke. But Instead of, or you could just be like, never mind, I'm just not gonna do anything for 3 days. Well, that's not gonna work, because then you can get out there. Your nervous system is like, or you mentally, you're like, I have to cram it all in this one day or this whole weekend, and your response isn't going to be as good. The recovery is going to be a lot harder.
Aaron, I would challenge you a little bit, and you don't need to answer this, but this would be my challenge. Like you mentioned that you love the Olympic lifting, you love the WODs, you love that kind of stuff. But I challenge my athletes with the same thing. A lot of them come in with that gym mentality, and I'll see it in the Training Peaks platform where they'll send me a message, hey coach, I didn't have time for the run today at 11 o'clock at night, as they're laying down to go to bed. And I get it, totally exhausted, tired from the day, but I do see that they hit the gym in the morning. So I'm always like curious, could we skip the gym one day, or could we take 1 or 2 days away from the gym and maybe add that day as a running day? And you've already committed this time to make the gym a priority, but could we just pull maybe Tuesdays and Thursdays instead of Monday through Friday, and just say, hey, maybe I'm going to run these days because I have this misagi, I have this vision that I want to complete this thing. I could throw it right back in after the race. I could go right back to the gym and do 5 days a week of powerlifting and WODs and all the things. But so I challenge you just to see where you can maybe fit running it better into your schedule. That's my challenge for you.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, that is definitely top of mind and a realization too, because I think that's a struggle, because in my head I feel like, all right, well, I'm doing 20 minutes or so, and then I immediately go run maybe 1 to 2 miles. So in my head I'm like, all right, well, I'm getting 45 minutes in already, but it's really not the same. It's not as intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely. And you mentioned the VO2 max gains from it, but it's really not building endurance. In a 100-mile race, we're going to need to build endurance. It's definitely, there's a benefit. Is it apples to apples? Probably not.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I guess the other thing that I struggle with too now with the training side of this is rest. Sunday was the first day in a very long time that I can remember of not doing anything. I mean, I just woke up and stretched and did some mobility stuff, but like between the gym or running, I haven't taken a day off in weeks. So I guess we was just kind of forget about that part too, training side, I guess.
Yeah, set up a calendar and use your work calendar, use your family calendar, what it is. Figure out where you could take a bit of rest. Typically, the athletes I coach, I try to give them, I know Mandy's on 1 day a week rest. She's going for a pretty long distance coming up here in May if she ever gets moved on that wait list. But we could talk about that later.
Lord, please let Mandy in. Let everybody in. Please, Lord, let that happen.
But most of my athletes, get away with 5 days a week of training, and typically for the 9 to 5 Monday through Friday workforce, that really kind of means like a Monday rest day, a Friday rest day, long run on Saturday, shorter long run on Sunday, and some structured work on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? And so that's just kind of a decent format. But figure out what a format might work for you best. Maybe it is Sunday that's your rest day, so you could unwind and enjoy the family and do those things. But then structure the rest of the days around it as well to kind of make sure that it fits in for you as well. But I think it's really important to include rest. Rest is just as important as the training itself. Going harder, faster, longer is in the long run not going to be your best bet, quite honestly.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, sometimes I do fall into that meathead strategy.
Yeah. The other thing, I'll just plug this before we let you go, Aaron, for the day. But like there is definitely value in having a coach. And so whether you're reaching out to someone like Brian, who's a fantastic coach or with a lot of experience, or we've interviewed a couple of hosts lately who have like Coop AI. There are AI generated coaching platforms out there now that is better than ChatGPT because it is the coach building it. I'm not going to say it's going to replace the human component of having an actual coach who's reading what you're doing and also able to relate to like emotionally or realistically what's happening in your life. But I always encourage everyone to do that. And also I think it just helps that you're not alone. You have that like outside of the guidance, you also kind of have that pressure, like someone else is watching and going to hold you accountable. And so if you don't show up for your workout, you've got someone to report to. And a lot of times, like there are days where that's the one thing that makes me not skip my workout is because you could, if no one's coaching you or no one's watching you, your social media doesn't really care if you post about it. Like I post all the time because I like to post about it, but no one's going to be like, hey girl, I know you had 10 miles today and you didn't do anything, but if you have a coach and someone helping to hold you accountable, I think there's a lot of value to that. So just to plug that.
No, I appreciate that. I hope this is helpful for everybody listening to your content. I'm just trying to come up as being vulnerable as possible as a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
I still feel like a total rookie in all this running stuff. I don't know what I'm doing. I was like, I know I got to get miles in. And it's like, oh, shoot, I got 45 minutes. Okay. I got to pick up Connor when? Okay. I can crush 40 or to 45 minutes real quick. Towering him out the door. And I appreciate Ollie saying that because I'm dropping Connor off at Mathnasium, which is like a math tutor place here in Fort Collins. And he's there for an hour. So I can easily throw some shoes in my car, just go get it in real quick, maybe bring Enzo, and away we go. Yeah.
I did see
100%.
Enzo before we let you go. I did see Enzo on your Instagram. He's the coolest, craziest shark tooth dog I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's lazy right now. He's with me. He's just laying down under
Okay.
my desk, and he's big now. I haven't posted a lot of videos yet, but yeah, he's
Okay.
not a puppy anymore. But yeah, he might make an appearance at Welger Metal. We'll see. Actually, he'll probably be there. He's always with me. Yeah.
Thanks so much for your time, Aaron. One more time, where can our listeners follow you at your journey? And once again, where can we donate for Laura and her family?
Yeah, thank you for that. So Team Nelson Loans, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. As much as I detest TikTok, it's just a thing. I'm on there. But really, if the biggest thing is go to GoFundMe and search Laura Bunch. Her and her husband Kenny, they really truly do need the support. But I'm doing this the fun little hashtag thing. It might be early 2000s the hashtag, but I'm doing bunch of miles with their last name playing into it. So Bunch of Miles 2026. I'm posting as much as I can. Like, comment, share. Please, please, please. Let's just get the word out to anybody that wants to help. Yeah. Thank you for
Okay.
having me. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the knowledge, and I hope this can help someone that's listening to get motivated and maybe learn from some of my mistakes that I'm making currently.
Thanks for vulnerability. And this reminds me that we need to get out for a run soon. So let's do that.
Yes, it's been too. I've been running with Conrad, and a good change of pace would be good.
That's a whole nother
Conrad's a
conversation.
freaking Billy Goat, man. Like when I ran with him last weekend, I mean, I know he's training to run with Killian, but it's just like when he just springs up all those hills, and I'm walking, I'm like, man, I am so exposed right now in my ability to run hills. So
It's good for
yeah,
you. Yeah.
yeah,
All right, Aaron.
100%.
We'll chat soon. Thanks, friend.
I really appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Have a great day. Take care.